The subject is human life and its goal. Humans come to this earth for a very short span. And within this short span, they are to do so many duties. When the span is short, not a moment should be wasted. And it is desirable that they know their goal and the path from the very beginning of their life. One must not wait for old age. That is, one should know the correct path. One should know the correct destination or desideratum from an early stage of one's life. But what is the goal and what is the path? That is the question. So many books, so many scriptures say so many things. Do this, do that. So what should one do? A common person fails to understand what to do and what not to do. There are so many social codes. What to do and what not to do. There are so many do's and so many don'ts. Spiritual aspirants fail to know what to do. The great men who reached the goal say, don't be misguided by so many books and so many theories and so many dogmas. Be guided by the established yogi. Who is yogi and what is yoga? There are so many definitions by so many scholars, but the accepted principle regarding yoga is Sanjogo Yoga Ityukto Jivatma Paramatmana. Other people say that yoga means Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha, and that one who has become established in the practice is a yogi. And what is Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha? Nirodha means suspension. That is, a Chitta Vritti Nirodha means suspension of all psychic propensities. You know, if all psychic propensities are suspended, the mind becomes actionless. But actionless of mind does not mean that you have achieved the goal, because when a person is in a senseless condition, in that case also the mind remains actionless. So this definition of yoga cannot be accepted. Another definition of yoga is Sarva Chinta Parityago Nischinto Yoga Uchyate. When there is thoughtlessness, that stage is yoga. But when the mind becomes free from all thoughts, that is also a stage of vacuum. That cannot be yoga, because the word yoga means unification and thoughtlessness is a negative stage. Chitta Vritti Nirodha, that is a suspension of propensities, is also a negative stage. The correct interpretation is yoga means unification. Unification by whom? With whom? Sanjoga Yoga Ityukto Jivatma Paramatmana, unification of the unit self with the cosmic self is yoga. When your little I becomes one with your great I, that state is the state of yoga. And the spiritual aspirant who has attained that state is a yogi. You will have to follow the path of the yogi. And where doth lie the desideratum, the goal of life? It is hidden within your I feeling. It lies covered within your I feeling. What is the I feeling? Everybody has a sense of I. I am doing, I am Mr. Kennedy, I am such and such, I belong to Iceland, I am Joseph, I am the owner of this house, I go to the airport to receive Baba. So many I's, a crowd of I's. Now what is I? When you come in contact with something external, in the first phase your I is the subject. This I gestures, not the pronoun I. Your I is the subject and that object which you see is the object. So in the first phase your eyes are I. Then what happens? These eyes are mere gates of your sense of vision. And the optical nerve is the medium. So then this particular point in the brain becomes the subject and these external eyes are the objects. So in the second phase, a particular portion of your brain is your eye and these physical eyes are the object. Then in the third phase, your doer eye, I am doing, I am seeing, I am eating, becomes the subject. That I is your eye. And that particular portion of the brain is the object I. The object I cannot See, without your support, suppose you are moving along the road and thinking something, that is, your door eye is engaged in some other business. In that case, if an elephant comes in front of you, you won't see it because you are engaged in thought. So that door eye is the eye, the inner eye, whose permission that portion of the brain sees the external object with the help of your eyes, your gates of vision. And finally, the feeling that I exist, I am, becomes I. But that I is not the supreme I either. I exist is not the supreme. Behind that I exist, feeling there is another I know that I exist. This I of I know is the actual I. Everybody knows that he or she exists. That knowing entity is the I. And the existing entity is the second phase of I, not the final I. And then there is a universal supreme I, who knows that you know that you exist. Who knows that you know that you exist. That I is the supreme I. That I is supreme consciousness. That I is Param Purush. And for that I, common people use the term God. Nothing can be done secretly. That I sees everything. And if you always remain conscious of the fact that that supreme I is seeing whatever you are doing, and not only whatever you are doing, but whatever you are thinking, you won't become depraved. You won't get degenerated in your life. And that I is the desideratum. That I is the final terminus of all your marches towards different expressions of propensities. So suspension of mind or making the mind free from all thoughts is not the last word of yoga. The last word is moving your individual supreme I towards the universal supreme I, and unifying your individual supreme I with the universal supreme I. That is the final word of yoga. Now regarding the goal, regarding the desideratum, that is the final word. But what should be the path? What should be the mode of our thoughts? How to do it? How to come in close contact with Him? How to become one with Him? How to become unified with Him? Some people say, go on doing good work. You will come in contact with Him. You will become one with Him. But let us see what is what. That is, some people say, follow the path of the external faculty and you will become one with Him. What is action? What is the external faculty? Action means change of place. The bolster is here. Now it is there, here. There has been a change of place. So I have done some action. Action means change of place. Now in the physical stratum, you are always engaged in external faculties and in changes of place. We are moving, we are loving, we are eating, we are laughing, we do so many things. All are actions. But how can one come in contact with Him by dint of one's external faculty? And there is another thing, action may lead you towards the goal, towards the universal self, or action may drift you away from the supreme self. There may be bad actions, so one may or may not reach the destination by dint of the external faculty. So through the external faculty, one may not reach the goal. And some people say, by dint of one's knowledge, spiritual knowledge, one will attain salvation. One will reach the goal. Now let us see, what is knowledge? The word knowledge is a very old word, about 15,000 years old. The original word is jnanam. A Sanskrit word, an old Sanskrit word, about 15,000 years old. Jnanam, from jnanam it developed into jeno, pronounced kano, kahano in old Latin. From jeno it has become kno, no. In modern English, although that K is silent, mute, still the K is there because the root word is Keno. K-E-N-O-W. Now what is Gyan? What is knowledge? Knowledge is subjectivization of external objectivity. Suppose you are in front of an elephant. When you subjectivize that elephant through external projection, that is when that elephant becomes an internal object by external projection, and you have subjectivated that elephant. You will say you have known the elephant. This process of subjectivization may be external subjectivization or may be pure internal subjectivization. When it is a pure internal, then it is a proper spiritual knowledge. But this phase of pure internal is second phase. The first phase is external, and in this sphere of knowledge, there can be degradation. Because in the first phase, when it is external, that external object may or may not be good. If it may lead you towards the crude world of crude enjoyment, and in that case there will be degradation. You will go below the standard of humanity. So through knowledge or the faculty of subjectivization, the result may or may not be in your favor. The result may or may not be of a spiritual order. Now there remains the third course. It is the course of devotion. What is devotion? Devotion is withdrawing all your propensities from all external objects and also from all psychic objects or psychic pabula, and goading that collective propensity unto the Supreme Universal I or Supreme Entity. O Parama Purusha, I love nothing else, I love you. And why do I love you? In the first phase, the spiritual aspirant, the spiritual devotee says, O Lord, I love you. Why? Because by loving you, I get pleasure. And for nothing else. I want nothing from you. I want nothing from you. I want you. I don't want anything from you. Because if I want something else from you, that something will be something external, something of the objective world, and everything of the objective world is finite, and that finite object or those finite objects cannot give me pleasure of permanent nature. But O Supreme Entity, O Parama Purusha, you are infinite, you are of infinite attributions and qualifications. So if I get you, I will get infinite pleasure from you. That is why you are my goal and not the objects that I expect or expected from you in the past. This is the first phase of devotion. But in the final phase of devotion, the devotees say, no, no, no. I love you not because I get pleasure by loving you. I love you because I want that you should get pleasure by my love. That is, my love is just to give you pleasure, not to give me pleasure. In order to give you pleasure, I love you. I want nothing and I don't want you. I want that I should be yours. I don't want you. I want that I should be yours. This is the final phase of devotion. And this is the final word of bhakti or devotion. So the path of spirituality is very simple. It is not at all complicated. Your goal is the Supreme I, the Supreme Universal I, the Supreme Creator. I said just now, devotion for whom I ordinary language we use the word God for the Supreme Entity. The Supreme Generator, Operator and Destroyer. For generation, you use G for operator. We use O, and for destroyer, you use D, God. G-O-D, God. He is the goal, and nothing else in the universe can be your goal or desideratum. Once I said that the word desideratum should always remain in singular number and never be desiderata, because the goal is a singular entity. There cannot be any plural form of desideratum. And the second thing is that your approach should be the approach of devotion. You cannot get him by going through volumes of books or by becoming worms of the books. There are so many worms in books. And do they get salvation? Do they come in contact with the supreme entity? No, no. They are ordinary insects, dirty insects. And those who think that they will get him through the external faculty are finally engaged in fighting. I did this, I did that, I am not an ordinary man like this. In devotion, there is no scope for being puffed up with vanity. Because in devotion, finally you want to surrender yourself. You want, oh Lord, I love you just to give you pleasure. And oh Lord, I don't want you. You just take me as yours. One must follow the path of the yogi. And one must accept that universal entity as one's supreme goal. There is no alternative, as the universal I is the supreme creator, supreme generator. Everything in this universe is his progeny and he is the progenitor. He is the supreme father. You have a family relation with the supreme entity and not the relationship of external formality. He is yours, and you should also remember that nothing is external for him. Everything is within, nothing is without. So you have been created by him and you will be one with him. For this, you require no special education, no knowledge of philosophy, and no other external attributions. Suppose the supreme love for the supreme universal entity will make you one with him.